Do you know what is said to be your most essential nutrient? Oxygen? You do need oxygen. Food. You definitely need food. Sleep? You absolutely need sleep, but it's not a nutrient. Here's a clue. Overall, about 3/4 of your brain and body are composed of this essential nutrient, with an even higher percentage in your brain neurons. Got it? Water. It's your most essential nutrient. You can live 10 times longer without food than without water. Every cell in your brain and body require it. Did you know that body organs will give up their need for water in favor of the brain? I guess they're clear that everything begins in the brain. I remember a researcher commenting that if the brain becomes dehydrated, it will direct the bladder, for example, to dehydrate some urine and send fluid up to the brain. He ended his presentation by saying, "That sure puts a different spin on the term pea brain." It's really not a laughing matter, although his terminology certainly was. A lack of sufficient water, a state of dehydration, changes everything, and not in a positive way. Dehydration concentrates the blood, and as it thickens, it's less efficient in transporting oxygen and nutrients to the brain and nervous system, and increases the risk for blood clots. They can trigger a stroke in your brain, a thrombosis in your heart, an embolism in your lungs, any of which can kill you. According to Jonathan Kipnis, MD, lymph dehydration may be a bigger problem than was once thought. It was in his lab that the discovery was made in 2015 that the brain does have an immune system. Kipnis points out that in Alzheimer's, there are large protein chunks in the brain that may be accumulating because they're not being efficiently removed. As lymph fluid thickens, this interferes with the timely removal of toxins and waste products. There are also implications for neurological autism spectrum disorders and schizophrenia. Dehydration reduces the amount of water inside the cells, which causes brain tissue to shrink and pull away from the skull. This can be a source for headaches and over time lead to dementia. That is really pitiful because all things being equal, dehydration is preventable. Dehydration interferes with the production of neurotransmitters, which interferes with moving information across the synapse from one neuron to another. Transmission along neuron pathways requires 1/2 of all the brain's energy. Dehydration reduces the ability of the gastrointestinal system to digest nutrients due to lack of sufficient digestive enzymes. This can reduce the level of nutrients that reach the brain, which can contribute to brain fatigue and cognitive fog. Turns out that drinking only to quench thirst typically results in an insufficient intake of water because by the time you experience thirst, if your thirst sensation is working and if you pay attention to it, both your brain and body are already dehydrated. At just a 1% level of dehydration, your brain has reached a 5% level of cognitive decline. Symptoms include irritability, forgetfulness, inability to focus, general difficulty in getting things done, decreased productivity and amount of work completed, a higher level of making mistakes, and an increase in accident proneness. Estimates are that at least 60% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. What contributes to this? Well, for one thing, one's thirst sensation begins to drop after age 50. For another, well-meaning adults often feed fussy babies instead of trying water first. Consequently, the babies can learn to eat for both hunger and thirst. In adulthood, many who think they are hungry are actually only thirsty. So they may snack or drink food such as milk, fruit juices, and sugary drinks or sodas, when what the brain and body really need is water. Now that's what I call a drinking problem. Typically, alternative beverages often carry potentially dehydrating effects due to high sugar content because water is required for the body to even process sugar. Other drinks contain neurotoxins. Many beverages trigger the digestive process, requiring the gastrointestinal system to work overtime. Water, on the other hand, does not trigger digestion and can be absorbed immediately. Fit4Maui.com estimates that the average American drinks over 600 servings of sodas, soft drinks, and pop a year, which may slowly be shortening their longevity due to acidosis. A Gallup poll done in 2012 found that 48% of surveyed Americans drink an average of 2.6 glasses of soda per day. That number increased to 56% in those aged 18 to 34. Your body has a preferred pH level, and it's actually rather specific. Alkalis for Health puts the acceptable range as between a pH of 7.1 and 7.5. By way of comparison, battery acid is said to have a pH of 1. Some lists of acidity and sugar content show popular sodas at a pH of 2.5 with nearly 10 teaspoons of sugar in every 12 ounces. One brand of fruit juice showed a pH of 2.8 and over 11 teaspoons of sugar. The bottom line? The body continually tries to maintain the preferred pH balance. Beverages that are more acidic may make the body work harder to maintain a desirable pH balance. According to the Minnesota Dental Association, the threshold pH for the erosion of tooth enamel is 5.5. And they suggest that enamel erosion may be the most common chronic disease of children ages 5 to 17. Acidic beverages can exacerbate this. A Pennsylvania State University study found that in a survey of 8,400 American children ages 2 to 19, 1 in 5 don't drink any water at all on any given day. And these no-water kids consume almost twice as many calories from sugar-sweetened beverages as children who do drink water. Researchers concluded that water is the healthiest beverage and should be an adult's first option when children are thirsty. Dr. Corinne Allen, founder of the Advanced Learning and Development Institute, has explained that brain cells need at least twice the energy required by other cells in the body, and that water provides this energy more effectively than any other substance. When water levels within the cells fall, the production of energy also falls. She has pointed out that those with brain challenges, including head injuries, anxiety attacks, depression, and the autism spectrum, often drink little, if any, water each day, and the resulting dehydration can exacerbate symptoms of their brain dysfunction. This may also hold true for those with dementias, Parkinson's, and Lou Gehrig's disease. It helps to be reminded of some of the key reasons water is considered your most essential nutrient. Here's a brief summary. Water is required for proper digestion and numerous chemical reactions, for the absorption of nutrients and for waste elimination, for appropriate liquidity of blood and lymph fluid, and circulatory ease throughout the brain and body. A potential reduction in dehydration-related blood clots, and the regulation of body temperature and internal moisturizing of the skin, for generation of energy, and for prevention of premature aging due to toxic buildup and wrinkling of the skin and body organs. An ugly thought, that. Studies are beginning to suggest that simply drinking enough water may provide a type of preventive medicine, and that water is our planet's first and foremost medicine. They just may be right. Growing up, I wanted a dog for a pet. What I got was a bright green parakeet I named Keto. Initially, I was not particularly overjoyed with the bird, but that smart little collection of feathers soon became my dear friend for the next 13 years. Let's pop in via satellite to the sound stage where the Birds and Brains series is taking shape. Even though the cast members are a little bigger than my little Keto.
Now it's time for Birds and Brains with your host, Quentin Quill, and special guest, live via satellite, brain function specialist, Dr. Arlene R. Taylor. Here's Quentin.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Birds and Brains. I'm your host, Quentin Quill, a rose-breasted cockatoo filming on location in the beautiful continent of Africa. And over there is Clifford, an African gray. Say hi, Clifford.
Hi, Clifford. You know, Quentin, my ancestors are from Africa.
You don't say.
Yep, that's right.
And here I am thinking that you arbitrarily named yourself African Gray. A Slovakian proverb states that pure water is the world's first and foremost medicine. That sounds interesting. But first... La 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 la. I drink water, lots of water. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I tell all my fellows it'll make their pee less yellow. Now they drink water too. And so should you. Clifford, let's get Dr. Arlene Taylor on the line.
Will do, Q.
Hello, Dr. Taylor.
Hello yourself, Quentin.
What can you tell me about drinking water?
Well, I can tell you that thirst alone should not be the criteria for drinking water. You should stay hydrated. Because as water levels fall within the brain and the body, so do energy levels. Did you know that dehydration, the lack of drinking enough water, is now linked with an increased risk for dementia?
Oh my!
As water levels inside the brain cells fall, brain tissue can actually shrink and pull away from the skull. A 1% level of dehydration can result in a 5% fall in cognitive ability, and you don't even feel thirsty yet. As dehydration increases, so do cognitive problems. Trouble doing simple math or remembering things, along with increased irritability. Dr. Corinne Allen found that individuals with brain challenges such as ADD, head injuries, anxiety attacks, depression, and the autism spectrum often drink little, if any, water each day. The resulting dehydration seems to promote and exacerbate their brain dysfunction. Dehydration can be a serious problem. For humans, that is.
For most birds, too. Like humans, we lose water through breathing and our droppings.
Wow, poop! Poop, poop-a-doop!
As I was saying, birds have no sweat glands, so we need less water than mammals. Having said that, how much water do humans need?
They should aim to drink enough water to get 1 or 2 pale urines each day.
Is that the same as pale pee-pee?
All I can say is, I'm so sorry.
Well, I guess pale pee-pee is appropriate if you are a 3-year-old.
Between us adults, how do humans know if they've had 1 or 2 pale urines a day?
Pretty basic, Quentin. They look and they count. It's not rocket science.
Well, Doctor, do you have any last comment?
You can live far longer without food than without water. So make water your number 1 beverage of choice.
Well said, Doctor. Until next time, this is Quentin Quill wishing you from all of us here at Birds and Brains a brain-hydrated and brain-healthy day. Say goodbye, Clifford.
Goodbye, Clifford!
Birds and Brains is filmed before a live avian audience.
There's often a huge difference of opinion about what constitutes the preferred water temperature for drinking. Indeed, potable, drinkable water can come in a variety of temperatures from scalding through to icy. Did you know that scalding water may damage your tongue and throat? Or that icy water can interfere with digestion, exacerbate asthma in children, increase risk of headaches, especially if the person has a history of migraines, and waste energy as the body tries to regulate its core temperature? Although some might find this counterintuitive, sources suggest that room temperature water may be better for you on a hot day than ice cold water. Drinking warm water first thing in the morning can soothe your throat, reduce nasal congestion, increase metabolism, which can burn calories, slow down aging, and increase circulation, to name just a few. Growing up, I watched my parents begin each day by drinking a couple glasses of very warm water with a dash of lemon juice. I don't recall him talking about preventively drinking water throughout the day. But you only know what you know. If that had been emphasized, I might have been spared heat stroke when I was 15. Talk about dehydration. I mentioned that incident during a seminar on the importance of water, only to hear a voice boom out, "Well, Dr. Taylor, that certainly explains a lot." Had to laugh. but decided not to digress to get clarification on what that explained. Miners, I am told, refer to water as the other gold. To recap, dehydration is pretty much a matter of life and death. Avoid it as an anti-aging strategy to help reduce your risk for all the problems linked with dehydration. Drink for your life. Water, that is. And I do. It is definitely my beverage of choice. Water matters.